Hello and welcome back. This is Steve at Bucks Coins and welcome to another coin hunt. What I've done is I've taken a selection of coins from my pre-decimal coins box for you to look at today. So let's start. We start with the highest value of coin, which is the half crown or the 2 and 6. It's from Elizabeth II's reign and it is dated 1962. It is, I think, the second portrait of the Queen. If we look on the other side, you have a crowned shield with the English lions, the Scottish lion, the harp of Ireland, and the fourth quarter is another set of English lions. I have pointed out before that the Welsh, which would be the dragon, is none there, as Wales was thought of as a principality rather than a separate country in its own right, which of course it is, but it wasn't represented that way on this shield. The half crown was the highest value coin that was in general circulation. There was a crown coin, there was also a guinea, which was £1 and 1 shilling, but these coins were very rarely used and certainly weren't used in general circulation. Although the guinea was used as a method of payment and still is used as a method of payment when you're buying high value items such as racehorses and things like that, and also occasionally some auctions for high value paintings and things like that are done in guineas. Occasionally, less so nowadays, but it still can be occasionally done in guineas. So that's this coin. Very standard design. It didn't change in all the time of Elizabeth. The father's was slightly different in the fact that the shield was wasted, had the middle went in, but yeah, it's a fairly standard coin. Wasn't one of my particular favourite coins of the pre-decimal period. We have here Elizabeth and her father, George VI. I think the other three are either Elizabeth or George VI. We have George VI from 1947, Elizabeth II from 1957, and the last one is George VI from the year before he died in 1951. So I've left one of each out. They're facing each other, as the monarchs do, George VI and Elizabeth II. They have differing backs, and this is why I've turned them over back side by side. On Elizabeth's, you have a central rose, which is the rose of the Tudors, and then around the outside you have the three other symbols, flower symbols of the United Kingdom. You have the thistle from Scotland, you have the flax or clover from Ireland. I think it's the clover, isn't it, on this one? Yeah, the clover on this one, and the leek from Wales. And they go around the inner circle, which contains the Tudor rose. So those are the flowers of the nation. Now we have a similar thing now on our current £1 coin. It's called the flowers of the nation. It shows the flower symbols of England, Ireland, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. So it's just a different design of the same sort of coin for the modern £1, 12-sided £1 coin. The next one is from 1947. It's a George VI, you have a crown above a central Tudor rose. Then either side of the Tudor rose you have the thistle on the left as you look, and on the right you have the clover or shamrock on the right. Underneath both of those two flower symbols you have G on the one side and R on the other side of the central rose. Then you have underneath it you have the value of the coin and the date, which is 2 shillings, and then the year of the coin, which is 1947. And then you have above that, going around the top of the coin, you have Latin, which I'm not versed in, so I'm not going to even attempt to translate that for you. Okay, so that's the 2 shillings. We have several different 1 shillings here. We have, first of all, this is a Elizabeth II coin. It's dated 1960, and it is a crown over a shield which shows, and the shield is then has a rampant lion on it. This is the Scottish 1 shilling coin. 12 old pennies, occasionally called a bob, depending on where you are in the country. So that's the one for Elizabeth. These are all George VI coins. We have, first one here shows the rampant lion of Scotland. This one here shows the standing on all 4 for England, on these 4 paws. The lion standing on all 4 paws, which is England's, which is the English one. We have 3 of them here. This one is dated 1949. This one is dated 1947. Now this first one is a year later, 1948, and the 3 of them there were the Scottish lion, and the Scottish lion was sitting but in an upright position, so his 2 front paws are holding the sceptre and the sword, and it's sat above a crown. This one here on the right as you look, this one is the English one, and it has the lion sat on all and stood on all 4 of its legs above a crown. The date is either side of the crown, 19, and then the other one's up 49, so 50. And then that one is 1948, and it has the Scottish lion sitting on the coin. Now at this time, and even up through Elizabeth's reign, the shilling had both the English and the Scottish versions. Now the English one, the lion was always either extended and on all 4 paws, or had maybe 1 paw up in the air. The Scottish lion is always standing either on its hind 2 legs and rampant side view, with its standing on its hind legs, hind legs, same thing. Standing on its hind legs, normally facing to the left of the coin, with its front paws up, and it's normally has an open mouth with the tongue showing. So it'll either be that design or this one here, where he sat down with holding the sceptre and sword in its 2 front paws. The English one is always depicted on all 4 legs down. Maybe occasionally it has one of its front paws up. I think you see that more on maybe the FA, like the Premier League thing, where he's got his hand on the ball. So these are the two of the different One Shilling obverses, reverses. There is a third one where it's just a standard one, but unfortunately I don't have that one with me. Next we have another version of the Flowers of the Nation. This is the Sixpence of Elizabeth II. It has the four flowers with their stems going in towards the centre. You have the thistle, you have the rose, the Tudor rose, the thistle, clover leaf, and the Leek of Wales. This particular coin is dated 1961. Again, all of these with during Elizabeth is the second portrait. And these two are threepenny bits, but I'm glad to have them side by side. The reason being, one is George VI and the second one is his daughter Elizabeth II. The reason why I wanted them back to back is it shows you the two different rears that you frequently see on the threepenny bit. One is a thrift flower. This one is dated, the George one is dated 1938, which was just prior to the Second World War, of course, and this one with the portcullis is 1956. Now, the portcullis is used on various different coins and on different official documents. If you ever receive anything from the House of Parliament or on parliamentary written paper or whatever, then you'll see the portcullis as the main symbol. It is also the Beaufort, one of the Beaufort coat of arms, which was Henry VII's mother. She had the portcullis as one of her symbols, so it goes back a fair way using the symbology of the portcullis on a coin. The second one is a thrift. Now, I don't know why this was used, to be honest. I don't know if there's any specific reason behind it being used in the first place. I can understand the portcullis, but I'm not too sure why this was used, I have to be honest. But still, it makes a difference in the coins and makes it easier for a collector to say this belongs to such and such a king or queen. Don't always get it right, of course, but there you go. The two different threepenny bits. The next two are probably the most common coin that you come across in a pre-decimal. We have a rather tatty one with Elizabeth II on, and a well-worn but very readable George V, her grandfather. The Elizabeth one is a 1966 coin. It's very badly tarnished. It's got some rusting, some differential type rusting on it, copper oxidation I think this is, and it's looking a bit sorry for itself compared to the one that's next to it, which is the George V coin. Very readable legend around the outside, even though it's in Latin, and Latin is not something I'm fluent in. However, on the back, this one is a 1932 coin, and on the back, for its age, there's very little wear. If you take a look at this, there's hardly any wear at all. When you look at it, with the exception of the shield, which is slightly worn, the rest of it is fairly crisp. and you can make out exactly what it is and what it's supposed to be. You got Britannia, and then in the background some water. Around the top, from about 9 o'clock through to 3 o'clock, you have the 1 penny logo, and then coming in at sort of 1 o'clock area. Blah blah. Come on, Steve, get your words formed. You have the legend very clear, and there's no wear on it, or very little wear. The Britannia stands out well. This is in fact a very good quality in compared to others of the same age. I'm quite surprised at that, and I'm quite that would be one that would go in my example in my album as a good example of a coin from of that particular style. Now we have 3 halfpenny pieces. The bottom one is an Elizabeth coin. It has on it the back the golden hind. It's got a bit of a rough C, and it's dated 1960. Going a little further back, we have a George VI coin, dated 1959. Again, you've got the golden hind, and you have the date underneath the C. So those are the designs that we probably best know for the halfpenny. There was one other design, which is what this one's got on the back of it, and it's our old friend Britannia. Unlike the penny of this age, we don't have any lighthouses or ships on it. It's just a straightforward Britannia on the coin itself. You can make out quite clearly that it's a halfpenny, and it's from 1921. The trident is very clear, and it's all within the coin edge, which is nice. It doesn't go up and into what used to be the old dots around the outside. The prong just about sits on the edge of the coin, or what is now the edge of the coin. This is slightly worn and maybe a little bit misshapen because of the wear. You can see all 3 prongs of the trident. It's not, for its age, it's very good on the wear front for its age, and one that sort of, I'm quite happy to have in the collection as a special coin, in the fact that it's a good example of its type. The last one is slightly more unusual, in the sense that the monarch on the front, even though this is very badly tarnished, is Elizabeth II. It's got a very dark patina and tarnish to it, but this one is the lowest of the valuations, and it's a wren on the back, which means say it's a farthing of this particular period. It's the smallest of the pre-decimal coins, and one that we don't feature very regularly on the coin hunts because it doesn't come along very often. This is one of the last years that it was minted, 1954. I'm not sure if it's 54 or 57 that they stopped minting them. I'll find out. They stopped minting it because the value of it wasn't huge, and there wasn't the need for it eventually, a bit like the new halfpenny. Great when it first came out. It allowed the manufacturers to price things at 99.5p instead of being £1, and they were able, and when the half p went out, they had to make the momentous decision of whether they're going to allow it to be sold for 99p or whether they're going to make it to be sold at £1. So that ends this particular coin hunt. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're having a hunt yourself, I hope you have a successful one and you can find the coins that you're looking for. If you're buying coins, wherever you're buying them from, I hope you can get the coins that you desire for the amount of money you want to pay. If you believe this video deserves it, please give me the thumbs up, and I would be grateful if you did, because it will help with the algorithm that will get my videos in front of new people. And if you are a returner and you haven't yet subscribed, I would love you to subscribe and join me on the rest of my journey through coins and banknotes, etc. If this is your first time here, I would also like you to subscribe for the original reasons given. In the meantime, until we meet up again on this channel, which I hope will be not too far into the future, from me, ta-ra for now, bye bye.